all day to share this message with you, with whoever is needing to hear the message. I hope that it reaches, I know it's going to reach its intended viewer or viewers. And so today I'm just going to share a story about dragons. And I know I'm always going on about, well, lately it's all about like galactic people and, I mean, galactic star beings and inner earth people. And so when I was kept getting the push today to share this story about this experience with dragons and my experiences with dragons, and then this miracle that happened with my husband, with them saving his life, then I just I'm just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna tell it. So I first was reunited with my dragons from Atlantis and Lemurian times back in the spring of 2016. And I think I have a blog post on that on my website. I can attach it to here on here after. Just a sec. So meeting and being like reunited with my dragons, it was a very emotional experience for me. It was like meeting like a long lost friend that you hadn't seen in like years and years, and just having that like soul remembrance. And so for me personally, I have like three personal dragons that are with me always. And I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of details on that. I'm just going to dive right into the story of how a dragon saved my husband's life 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, my husband was on his way home from work, but we had just gotten this really bad like snowstorm, and it was like wet rain type of a thing, and he had to go down this like really like steep hill. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, the angle of my hand is probably the depth of this hill that he had to go on. And so he ended up rolling his work truck, which was a F-250 like jacked up diesel. He swerved, and then he like literally like went off the side of this hill, but it was like one of those like blind hills where like where he went off, it was like if other vehicles were driving, like they wouldn't be able to see it, type of a situation. And so this happened, and at the time when he got home, finally, when he got a ride home after he got checked out and stuff by the ambulance and and did the police report and everything for work, I was like really mad. Like, had like this silent like mad conversation with like Archangel Michael, and that it was like, like, what the fuck, like, what's going on, like, what did you do, type of a thing. Like, I was mad at them. And then like right after that came through, like after I got out of like the human like madness, fogginess in my brain, and I calmed down some, I was shown this vision of what happened. And so what had happened is, okay, I'm going to go back into my husband's truck rolled. It was an F-250 Ford, like diesel, so it was a really big truck. And the roof part of it was like smashed all the way down. And like, I didn't really believe that until my husband actually like showed me the picture. of the truck. I was just like, oh yeah, it's probably just like smashed a little bit. He's just like exaggerating that it's like smashed like all the way down to like, like where the box would be, type of a thing. Because when you look at the picture, like when I looked at the picture, I'm like, holy fuck, like you should be dead. Like you should be dead. But I was showing this picture in my mind's eye of what had happened. I'll tell you what happened and I'll tell you my husband's version of what happened. Is that my husband was saved by a dragon. This dragon like basically swooped into the truck, shrunk my husband into like, a really tiny like little space, and that is actually what saved his life. So this is my husband's version of what happened. Is he was swerving, he hit ice, and then he was going down the hill, and then he thought to himself, I should move my head this way to like that was like more towards the headrest of the truck. And he did, and that's what he remembers. And then he remembers like grabbing his glasses. No. Yeah, grabbing his glasses and then climbing out of the driver's seat of the truck that is smashed to like all the way down to like its box, and grabbing his work briefcase and climbing out the window. And he was fine. He had no scratch on him whatsoever. Like nothing. Like his glasses didn't even break. He ended up finding them and pulling them. And then he ended up walking up the hill like towards the road so he could phone his boss and he could phone to get a tow truck. But then of course like someone else seen and then called the cops and stuff. And so that was like his memory of it, which I always chuckle at now when he tells the story and he's like, oh, I just got this like little nudge to like turn my head like this and then I was fine. And then I get this vision of this dragon like making him into like a micro size person and basically saving him and then like giving him this memory so that his human brain could comprehend what's happening. And so maybe there's somebody out there today that has had like a similar experience and they're just trying to understand maybe like what happened, like was it angels, was it an act of God, whatever type of a thing. And perhaps the message today is that it was a dragon that either saved you or saved someone that you know, and to then like give thanks to the dragons. Maybe this is also an invitation for you to call in dragons for protection. You can call in the fire dragons for protection. And even if you've never worked with dragons before, just know that you calling them in and you asking them to like be with you, to protect you, or to protect a loved one, that they will. And I was just like getting the like slap in the head to really share this message with everyone today. And so I hope it finds you well and that yeah, it's reached the right person or people, and that this story can also help you to believe that miracles are possible and that divine intervention is possible, and that there are the dragon beings that you can call on from the fourth dimension. They're in the fourth dimension. They're also in the higher dimensions as well. There's different levels of dragons. But you don't have to really concern yourself with that if you're just calling them in. And just know that you can call on the fire dragons for protection as well. You don't just like you can also call on obviously like Archangel Michael and stuff too, but there are special like superpowers that like dragons have versus like angels and stuff. If you haven't really researched it, then it's kind of a lengthy topic. So I'm not really going to discuss that right now. I'm just going to actually head off, and I might come back on and do a different video on something else. Thank you everyone for watching, and just let me know if you've experienced something like this, either in the comments or feel free to DM me. Thank you. Love you guys. Bye.